We're here with Rose. Rose is a kinesiologist too. She is trained and absolutely loves and trusts kinesiology. She didn't dedicate her life to kinesiology as a profession or as a main activity, but you should have, right?
In another time I would have, but when I first learnt kinesiology, it wasn't very well known and I couldn't make a living out of it.
That's right, yes. But you really trust kinesiology.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very exciting what it can do.
Yeah, I've also got treatment from Rose, and this interview with you is very special, Rose, because you understand kinesiology probably more deeply than any other client that I have work
Yes,
with.
I would.
Yeah. So, and you also love it. And actually, it was with you that I started daring to work in autoimmune and to this level, yeah? Not only emotional release, but actually a condition that doesn't improve, that is so physical, so visual, and to see it getting better, like is very, very, it was very big for me to see your trust in kinesiology and how you thought, yeah, this is what I want to do, together with all the other things that you were doing for your psoriasis, was that?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you want to share a little bit with us here? When you first called me, what was the reason? What brought you to it?
Well, first of all, I think was muscular, but I very quickly realised that you'd be able to help with my psoriasis and hypothyroidism and other autoimmune issues that I had. And so I started coming back, and slowly, session by session, different things got better.
That's right, yeah. So, Rose, would you like to share your understanding of what kinesiology is?
Yes. I believe that it works at your unconscious mind to help remove blocks that are causing illness or stopping you from reaching your goal. So every time you have a session and an emotion is released, or a muscle that's been trapped is released, any of those things, that helps the energy to flow through your body, which helps the body to heal.
That's right, yeah. When you first came, would you like to share like how your skin was? What was your concern? What was bothering you?
Okay. When I first came to Russell Island, I had really bad psoriasis all over my buttocks, my knees, my elbows, and the front of my legs, and I also had cracks in my feet. So it was pretty bad, and I started using other things as well, because I believe that a holistic approach is to do as much as possible as what you can. But in the end, after the other things started to help, kinesiology kept it up and kept removing the psoriasis. My skin got better. Would you like to look at my legs?
Yes. Can you explain to us what is psoriasis, how it was, how it looked like?
Yeah. I have a little bit of psoriasis there still, and a small amount there, but my legs were completely covered, front, knees, up to about here, and my elbows were covered completely all around there and all around there, and I'm not going to show you my buttocks.
No, you don't have to. Hopefully not.
And I also had some on the small of my back, and that was the first one to disappear.
That's right. So they were basically bleeding, right? Like the skin was cracked, itchy, and there was a whole component about it for you to feel good with yourself. Yeah, it was not only the physical.
The itching drove me mad, but also I couldn't wear shorts in a very hot, summer, etc., without looking bad, in my opinion.
That's right, yeah. So this is an autoimmune condition, right?
Yes.
When we started working, you started seeing these spots actually heal, yeah, bit by bit. And it reached a point in which they were all completely gone, right?
Yeah, I had a small patch, but this patch has gotten bigger recently, so I probably do need another
Maybe
session.
you need some more kinesiology. It's been a
Yes.
while. And okay, so autoimmune. And do you want to share a little bit as to how we discover, this was not new for you because you are familiar with kinesiology, but for people that are not familiar with it, how psoriasis and autoimmune was so related to emotion and to experiences and to things that were stored in the body that belong to the emotional realm.
Well, I don't actually know the science of it, but I can tell you that if you have blockages of any kind, and especially emotional, then the energy won't flow correctly and there will be disturbances in the body. And my disturbances were autoimmune. Other people might have different disturbances, but generally speaking, I think the more there are blockages that get trapped in your body, the more we can't release our emotions or release the muscles and the nerves that have been trapped, the more the body's going to go haywire. It's just not going to be able to complete the energy flow, and therefore things are going to go wrong. But
that's right.
When you loosen the energy flow, then the body can heal.
Yeah, and sometimes we deal with our emotions at a conscious level, but still at a subconscious level, things remain there. And even if we deal with things in a deep level, our body stores our experiences, the emotions that we have not fully processed. So it is necessary to work at the conscious, subconscious, and energetic level to really allow the body to do its self-healing. This is all about self-healing. It's removing the things that are on their way, right?
Can I give you a really good example?
Yeah.
That I might tear up. So the last session we had, you worked with me on my lack of grieving over the birds that had recently died.
Yes.
And that was a really big thing for me because I hadn't been able to release the emotions, which means I was getting all pent up inside and would have caused more illness. The next day, my favourite bird died, my companion bird that I'd had for 13 years.
Right.
And instead of not being able to cry, as before, I cried like a tribal person for hours and hours and hours. And so did my husband, and I allowed myself to grieve and get over her, and I felt so much lighter for it. Before I'd felt tight. I'd felt tight inside myself because I hadn't cried about the birds dying. And if anybody thinks that's a little bit crazy, I'm an avid bird lover and bird whisperer, and yes, it really broke my heart. But being able to release those emotions meant that I was able to move on, adopt a puppy, which I'm not allergic to, whereas I was allergic to my birds. And so kinesiology really gave me a huge gift. You gave me a huge gift in that I could release and move on.
That's right. So sometimes it's not only about being able to deal with something in our mind and get on with life, but it's being able to complete the cycle of the emotion, which is acknowledging the emotion, knowing that it's there, sitting with it, and then working on that healing. We can't heal anything that we don't acknowledge. That
exactly, and we so easily push things inside ourselves and think that we have to be tough, or even don't think. If we go into shock, and quite often what kinesiology will do is release the shock, because if we've gone into shock over a circumstance and been unable to release it ourselves, kinesiology can do that. It can help us to release that.
That's right. And it can also help us to become aware of what is inside that we don't even have any clue that is there, or that has been there for years and we just forgot about it. Very often on the massage table, people, and you had that experience yourself a few times, I remember, like, oh my gosh, I had not thought about this for years, and this was really traumatic, and this was really hard for me. It had disappeared from my complete information system, from my whole mind. And then during the process of kinesiology, these things can come to the surface, so you can make contact with them, and we can work on releasing them with the different techniques that we use.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing about the birds. So
and I didn't cry there. I might be a bit teary. But kinesiology isn't just about emotions. Emotions is one major thing that kinesiology can
you
deal
say
with.
that again so we can cut the word?
Kinesiology isn't just about emotions. It doesn't just work on emotions. It also works on muscles and joints and lots of other things, so that with kinesiology you don't just come and say, I need this to heal, and then Monica helps with the emotions. It's not just that. It's a lot more than that. There are a lot more things that can be stopping us from reaching our goal or blocking us that kinesiology can work with and fix.
Yeah, and that's why it's so difficult to define kinesiology, because it really includes the whole person, the whole being, like quite literally. It works at all levels. It works at the emotional, it works at the physical, hormonal, structural, neurological. So when somebody asks, like, I'm still trying to get the right answer in a short statement.
But that's why we have, the way kinesiology is so brilliant is that we don't necessarily have to think for ourselves, because we have the whole list there, and we use muscle testing to work out what we need to do.
That's right.
And kinesiology is also great with learning and education.
That's very important that you mentioned that, because, at the neurological level, this also impacts many areas like learning skills, motor skills, things like dyslexia, anything that is neurological, anything is like we can't exclude something that.
Oh, no.
And very important to mention might be that kinesiology can help somebody do their best with what they have. Like, there would be things that we can't distress. We
couldn't give me a good singing voice, no matter how hard we tried.
That's right. Yeah, it's not like you can do anything. It gives you the best performance with what you have. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for sports, for behavior, for if there are addictions, if there is physical pain, if there is trauma, all of these things can be helped. There are things that probably can't be helped 100%, but it's worth a try.
But it can still help, as in like memory, because I developed bird fancier's lung and had a lack of oxygen for many years. I have a very poor memory. But when I use kinesiology, when I use it on myself, or when you work with me, or when I do kinesiology exercises, my memory is a lot better.
That's right.
So kinesiology can really help also with exams. I've had great success with exams.
With exams, yeah.
And with being able to stand up and give talks in front of people.
Yeah.
It really helps. If you set a goal of something that you want to be able to do, kinesiology breaks down the barriers.
Yes. And it is amazing how our physical is related also to all these systems that we don't truly take them so seriously till we see the results, like all the chakra systems. Like as a yogi, I learned the chakra systems, As an acupressurist, I learned the meridians. But when you see in an instant how just balancing the chakra can create an impact right away on an arm, or how it can actually help an autoimmune condition, we really have evidence of these systems and their existence. So I remember something about
you worked on my throat chakra
the throat,
a lot.
thyroid.
Yes.
And this was about not feeling heard, not feeling.
This is true, and that really worked well for me, because even though it did not give me a good singing voice, which is what I originally wanted, it gave me a voice. And throughout, like with my husband, with my friend, with my children, whereas before they were over-speaking me and not really hearing me, now they do hear me, and now I just need to like raise my eyebrows basically, and they realise they're over-speaking to me, and they stop and listen.
Yes. It is amazing shifts happen when we do kinesiology in our inner world and around us. So is there anything that you would like to mention in particular about your experience during the sessions that you
With
had.
you?
Yeah. What has been achieved? How is
Well,
now?
the breakthrough with the crying when my Swiss died, that was huge, and that was directly related to the balance you'd given me the day before. It's like, you know, unconsciously you knew that my bird was about to die, which isn't what would have happened probably, but it felt like that the next day when my bird died, and I fell to pieces. And yeah, that was the most major thing, and that was working with the chakra. I believe it was the crown, was it?
Crown, yeah.
That had allowed me to grieve, which is a really important thing that a lot of us don't do, because you know, we're told that birds aren't really worth anything, or dogs or cats or your pet frog, whatever you love is what you love. I think what really astounded me was how often the throat chakra would come up, and I'd not worked in my kinesiology lifetime with chakras very much at all, and certainly not as in deep as what you've learned. So that really surprised me, and I was surprised at how well it worked. Yeah.
It is really powerful. The work with chakras and meridians is really, really, really powerful. So throat chakra was your whole theme, and that had to do with autoimmune also. And the relationship also that throat chakra has and thyroid issues when somebody has been bullied is something that is really all across the board in cases of thyroid. So when a person has been bullied, for example, as a child, often develops something at the level of the throat chakra, right? Have you seen that also?
Well, in myself, as you know, I was an abused child, so I'm not surprised in that case that my throat chakra was completely called into being worked on every single balance.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Rose, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your experiences here and being so open. And it's been a wonderful journey for me to work with you, especially seeing your trust in kinesiology. You know, I really got a lot from that, because when you said I have all this autoimmune and it is so visual, I thought like, okay, are we gonna make that disappear? We can only try, you know.
But it did. It really made a huge difference, and it's made a huge difference to my life. And thank you for working with me and on me.
Thank you for your trust and for sharing here.